Hello, everybody. Ryan Hunt here with Formula Access, a podcast where we bring people of motorsports, their stories and contribution in the sport to your world. Who better to get the party started than somebody we've all seen on the Formula One paddock and across shows like Netflix's Drive to Survive, Michael Italiano. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Ryan. Awesome to be here, and I'm looking forward to having a chat to you.
Yeah, likewise. I know everybody that kind of follows me and watches my stuff will be through the roof. Any drivers that I talk to, or advise are always mentioning kind of what they read in your magazine articles and just YouTube channel stuff. It's what you do is vital. So I'll kind of leave it at that. But you got a lot of things going on. You got a lot of stuff happening. I kind of feel like we're kindred spirits. Our family, we have a tough time sitting still and doing one thing. So I just want to get started. Most of our audience is in the US and F1 is new to all of us. So who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, sure. My name is Michael Italiano. I am the performance coach to Daniel Ricciardo, driver for McLaren. I've been in sport this is my fifth season in Formula One. So I've pretty much been with Daniel since 2018. So when he was at Red Bull. So I've crossed the paddocks with him twice now, from Red Bull to Renault, and now Renault to McLaren. So yeah, it's been a really cool experience thus far in Formula One. The 5 years have gone quick. It's a hectic schedule. It's a long schedule. You're starting in March and you're not finished till December. So it is a busy time, and time does fly when you're having fun. That's for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you also do other things on the side, right? You're not just a performance coach for him. You also have your own business too.
Yeah, that's correct. I'm a bit the same. I don't like sitting still. So yes, I do. I do coach other professional athletes and junior drivers in some degree. So I do have my, I guess, handful of other athletes that I will coach, and I also have an online fitness project that I've been working on for the last 2.5 years, and it's really exciting. I started an online coaching platform, and it's going from strength to strength. And we're actually in the process of launching like a full iOS and Android app in like coming months. So yeah, that's been keeping me busy, and it's been like a nice little. And it sounds funny, but it's actually been a nice outlet for me. Because Formula One can get quite taxing mentally. It is a roller coaster of a sport. So it's been nice to have, I guess you could call it, like a bit of a distraction when need be.
You and I are like opposites. Like you're in the world of Formula One, jumping into the tech scene, and I'm in the tech scene, kind of jumping into Formula One. So I
Maybe we should work together then.
we'll talk after the show. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I think, one of the things that I like to highlight a lot of is the origin story. I think that's always the best way to kick off a podcast. And just like, how did you get started in this? Like you were born in Australia, and anywhere that I'm wrong, correct me, but what's your origin story? How did you end up here today?
In a nutshell, it happened quite randomly. It wasn't something I was aspiring to achieve or do. The opportunity just kind of came to me. Leaving college, and so yes, I was living in Australia, and leaving, I guess, high school, but college, if we're talking in US terms, I wanted to like be an engineer. So I was studying to become an engineer. I was in the workforce for like 7 years doing civil structural engineering and design work, and I guess I was just doing like a bit of like future planning. I'm a pretty organized guy. I like to plan everything I do and structure my days, my weeks, my months, and I guess I just kind of answered a question within myself, and knowing that in 10 years' time, would I be happy in this office that I was currently in? And the answer was no. So I decided to go back and do some education, and that was within, the health and fitness industry. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to follow my passion, and my passion was health and fitness. I was playing Aussie rules at the time, so AFL. Uh, if any of your US listeners haven't heard, look it up. Aussie rules, crazy sport, really fun. Similar to rugby, like you could almost say it's a hybrid to rugby, and yeah, and man, honestly, like it's been such a blur since. Like I think there were a couple of clear signs. I remember, like through my transition, I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's a finance book, but I took a lot of life lessons from it. And I also signed up to this is ages ago. This is obviously about 10 years ago. I signed up to I don't know if you know Ariana Huffington. She owns Thrive.
Yeah.
I signed up to their email database, and like their emails of just every week was just like full of wisdom, just full of like different perspectives on life, and what you want to achieve, why, what you should consider. And it kind of just changed my whole like mental capacity and like how I wanted to go about my life. And I'm so glad I did, because I literally pulled the trigger straight away, moved into the health and fitness industry, became a coach, became a strength and conditioning coach in Perth, Western Australia, which is where I'm from and where I was living at the time. And I began training out of athletes, average Joes, just you name it, anyone, anything, corporate clients. I had a whole bunch of a range of various type of athletes and clients, and yeah, I began to love it. I worked my butt off because I went from a safe job, a well-paid job, to all of a sudden zero clients, no money, no income coming in. So that is a scary frigging thing to do, and if that doesn't kick your butt to work hard, I don't know what does. So I really had to work hard, and I think I was around 20, 25, I reckon. I think I was. Don't yeah, about that. And I met Daniel when I was about probably 12 through mutual friends. And we were like, I guess you could say we were friends. Daniel kind of like moved away to Europe at a very early age to, chase his dream of racing in Formula One. So he'd only come back like every December during Christmas, and so I'd only see him once a year, and it'd purely just be like hanging out, maybe once or twice when he came back during December. So it was like, yeah. So like I'd see him now and then, just because I met him through mutual friends. I was taking tabs on him, watching what he was doing, and I was seeing that he was making making up through the ranks very, very convincingly. And then yes, when he made F1, I started following F1, but I didn't really know much about it. But so the reason why I wanted to add that to the story is because he reached out at the end of 2017 and sent me a text message randomly, like around November time, when the season had finished, and was like, "Hey man, I'm coming back to Perth. I'd love to, explore working with you." He obviously could see that I was doing some good things in the coaching realm, and so we sat down at the end of 2017, went for a coffee, and he kind of like gave me a bit of a spill of what he's looking for in a coach, and I kind of gave him like my expectations if I was going to drop everything and move to Europe, and we came to an agreement. So that was it was super random, man. Like we never spoke about working together. Like there was never like prior like any talk of just, I guess, coming on board as his coach. I was super focused on my business here, coaching, and he threw that opportunity to me. So I was very grateful. Still am, of course. And so and I always get quite as you can see, I'm smiling quite a lot because it's quite a cool story when I tell it. It brings back some cool memories.
Okay, so you have this growing business. You're preaching to the choir. I understand the grind and the busyness of that. How do you go from that to traveling all over the world? I mean, obviously you can't personally train from, a different country every week.
Yeah, it was tough, man, because I had about 50 clients at the time, and this coffee that we had, it was like December, and then we came to like an agreement, and then I think we finished the coffee, and he's like, cool. He's like, well, I'm going to need you in Europe next month, and I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you need to move to Europe in 30 days. And I'm like, okay. So, man, it was just like, it was mayhem. It's like car went on sale, got rid of my place, packed my stuff up. Like, and I was like, geez, I need to get to Europe and find a place to live. And so like that next month was just mayhem. Got to January and we just started preseason straight away. Because usually, preseason starts January to March.
Yeah.
And, you need at least a good 2 months worth of preparation before race one. So that was just a complete blur, those 2 months, like trying to get used to living in Europe, then trying to adapt to this new role of training a Formula One driver. Didn't have a clue how to train a motorsport athlete at the time. So, I'm like, it's almost like going back to school. So like reading like history books of Formula One and all sorts just to try and, I guess, get up to speed and ensure that, I am doing the right thing. And yeah, that first year was just literally being a sponge.
Yeah.
That's all it was. I was just sitting back and just absorbing everything that I could to really, I guess, prepare myself and to propel in years to come.
I think that's a true testament to entrepreneurship. I think you have the gene. I think that's what we all kind of strive to do, is like jump in and figure it out as we go, rather than just kind of consume data and then make a decision. And you just, again, you'd fit right into our family. It's kind of like, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do it. And then you get in and you're
Yeah,
like, what do you do when I left the corporate world too, in oil and gas, so very similar to engineering, and as I understand in mining, that was a tough transition. I was a sales guy, and I started a tech company, and so my entrance to Quora was, I used Quora as a question and answer. How do I start a tech company? And
yeah,
because you have access to tech founders and CEOs, like they would answer your questions. That would be like, I want to be a personal trainer for F1 drivers, and like you actually respond to them and you're like, oh, here's how you do it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
that's really valuable. And I think that's a cool trait. It's bringing back all sorts of fun memories and PTSD all at the same time, I think.
Yeah, I was just about to add, like, obviously, the story sounds great, but I've definitely summarized it. That's for sure, as best as I could. There was definitely some very hard days and grinds and doubts and nights where you're like, geez, what am I doing? As I'm sure you can relate to, where there's always a bit of self-doubt that tries to take over. But yeah, like you said, as long as you're passionate about something, I feel like you always work towards something that you'll try and figure it out. If you're super passionate about something and you want to make it work, you will do everything in your power to ensure that you can make it work.
That's good advice. So kind of along those lines, what if there was a young person listening or watching to this, what what advice would you give them for the 12-year-old or the 13-year-old who's like, man, I want to be a performance coach when I grow up at the highest level? I mean, you're there, man. You've got like one of 20 drivers in the world, you know, that you're
Yeah.
responsible for. Like, and I think that's what any performance coach or trainer would shoot for. And so like what advice would you have for a young person?
My advice would be anything that looks amazing or great from the naked eye, just understand that there's an equally bigger sacrifice behind it. Because it's very easy especially when we're at a young age, you look from the outside in and you're like, wow, this looks amazing. This is brilliant. This is my dream job. But I think, if I could tell my younger self anything, it would be that. It'd be like, hang on a second, anything great in life is a bigger sacrifice, right? And it's something that I think I like to keep very close to me. It's like, okay, like, yes, this job's amazing. We get to travel, but the sacrifice is you're living out of a suitcase, 11 months of the year. You don't see family, you don't see loved ones, you don't see your wife, your girlfriend, your kids much. If you are in that situation, of course, and you have no routine, right? So every day is different. You're on a flight. You're doing 50 to 60 flights a year, so you're always jet lagged. You're not feeling the best majority of the time. There's days where I'll walk into a gym and put a barbell on my back, and I'm like, geez, is that 100 kilos? And I'll look at the bar and I've got 40 kilos. It's because your body is just fatigued. So like, there are aspects of anything in life that is going to take a big sacrifice. So just, I would say, mentally prepare for that, whether it is, becoming an entrepreneur and starting your own business. Like, people may look at you, Ryan, and be like, wow, that's amazing. But I'm sure if you started speaking to them and went, hang on a second, this is the sacrifice I had to make to get where I am. It's a good little life lesson. So yeah, my advice would be that, and just I guess just one, go for it. I think it's a fantastic industry to be in. I love the health and fitness space. I love coaching. It's so rewarding. I think what you can do as a coach is absolutely priceless if you can help athletes or anyone aspire to achieve their dreams. And if you can help them, do that, it's very humbling, and it's addictive for me, for sure.
I couldn't agree more. I think the world makes doing something great or being an entrepreneur this like wildly exciting kind of, movie. It like they don't talk
Yeah,
about, hey, like 6 days a week, you're going to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and your mind's going to be racing and you're going to be sweating and worrying. And, you'll have anxiety about decisions you have to make and deadlines you have to hit. And, and if you're okay with that, then maybe, you won't have bags under your eyes and,
yeah.
like you
And
haven't
there's no such thing as weekends either.
no.
There's no such things. It's like you're pretty much working every day, like to get anything up and running. Like there's no quick fix. There's no quick buck or quick fortune of trying to build anything. It's like, no, it's going to take a lot of blood, sweat, and tears.
I couldn't agree more. I listened to a podcast that you did, I don't know, a year ago, and you were comparing drivers
Mm-hmm.
and and how what you do as a performance coach gives a driver that 1 or 2% edge over another driver, and gets you that tenth of a second or 2/10 of a second because of that physical performance and your ability to kind of endure that 2 hours of just utter physical strain.
Yep.
I think having somebody like you for a driver is key because you can communicate that. But like going back to the 10-year-old Carter, the young teenager just getting into like junior formula, or like
Yep.
imagine Daniel when he jumped on a plane to go to Europe and he couldn't afford somebody like you, or his sponsors couldn't put that together. What advice would you give a young person, from a performance coach to get that edge on the track?
Yeah, I would say, make sure your goal is ambitious, for sure. I think, a wise man once said, you take the same amount of energy to dream small than you do to dream big. So why not dream big, right? So, if I'm talking to a younger junior driver, I'm like, man, dream big, right? So make sure that your goals are as ambitious as they can be, right? And make sure your approach is simple, right? Because it's one of those sports where it's a very unique sport, because there's a lot of parameters that you can't control in motorsport, right? Which makes it very, very difficult at times from an emotional standpoint, right? And you can really overcomplicate things with, whether it's your car, a bigger team, and you can really kind of just lose focus on what you can control. And what you can control is your physical preparation, what you put in your body, how you eat, your training from a racing standpoint. So actually getting practice on the track. So if I was to give any junior driver some advice, I'd be like, man, get your hours in on the track, right? Get your hours in, because it's going to help, right? When it's raining, get out on the track, right? Be that guy, because there's going to be times where, like, I see a lot of junior drivers like, oh, it's raining. No, I'm not going to go out. It's like, no, that's when you want to go out, right? When everyone else is inside, sit with a hot coffee. It's like, no, hang on a second, go out there and learn how to drive in the wet, right? It's learn your racecraft. And yeah, I think physical preparation is definitely important, but I think what I've noticed from an experience is getting your mind right is everything. Um, it's such a weird sport because one when the race is on, it's just them in the car, right? And it feels like it's such an individual sport, but really it's such a big team sport,
Yeah.
right? But on that particular Sunday, you are alone in that car, and you need to get your head right because
Mm.
there are so many variables that can go on in your head, and you know, overthinking is a big one. Like there's so many variables within the race, like you know, overthinking, trying to control what they can't control. And just self confidence is a big one. You know, a lot of the really good junior drivers are the ones that just have unwavering self belief
Yeah.
to a point where they just believe they are the best, and that just comes out in their driving. And how that comes out is that when you're confident, you're not reacting, you're anticipating, and everything just flows and feels natural. So um, the main thing that I work on with my junior drivers is their mindset, and we do a lot of mindset coaching because that is what's going to help you make it or will break you essentially, because this sport is brutal. The higher up you go in the ranks to get to Formula One, it is brutal. The turnover rate is insane.
We have a family saying that complication equals delay, and
Yeah,
that you nailed it, and you not only nailed it for a junior karter, but you nailed it for anybody in the business world too. It's just even in sales, man, if you're not feeling it and you don't believe in it, you'll never sell anything. And I think that is just such applicable advice anywhere in life.
yeah,
But so tell me about your online business. Like what are you doing?
yeah. So as mentioned prior, like I went from like 50 clients to one, and
Yeah.
then for a year and a half, I actually struggled to transition from like all these clients to one client. Spending all your time on this one particular individual, and I guess after a year and a half, when I started, probably about 2 years. When I was 2 years into the sport, I started getting a bit more comfortable of the space I was in, understanding how to train um, a motorsport athlete. I Something was missing in the heart, and I was like, no, I want to go back and share my knowledge with everyone else, like what I used to do. Like that's how I started, right? Like I was able to share my knowledge, educate others, help others, and so that's when I was like, look, I'm going to start an online coaching platform to a point where I can literally share my knowledge and scale the business so I can help everyone around the world. Because at the time I had so many people messaging me, "Hey, Michael, I need this help, I need that help," and it would have taken me 8 hours a day to reply to everyone. So like, yeah, I just physically couldn't, right? And it's part of my DNA. I want to help people. It's part of the reason why I moved to this industry, right? It's like I said,
Mm.
it's so rewarding to be able to help people and make a difference in someone's life. So um, yeah, so here I was. I started an online fitness platform, and it started off just me developing training programs and nutrition programs for just anyone in the world that wanted to come onto my website and train with me. And now we've got about 10 coaches
Mm.
where you come on board, and you got all sorts of criteria, whether it's yoga, Pilates, CrossFit, meditation, and we've pretty much created this whole coaching resourcing sphere where you sign up and you get literally everything at your fingertips, and it's really cool, man. It's really cool, and like I said, I'm ready to take it to the next step and develop a full iOS and Android app in the next couple of months. It should be out, and it's going to be exciting. I'm excited for sure, as you could probably tell.
That that is so is it live classes or are they pre-recorded classes? How does
So
that work?
so all the classes are pre-recorded at the minute. So we have over 250 classes, and they are recorded by all of us coaches. So you don't have to just do my class; you can do
Mm.
all our other amazing world-class coaches. And then the programming, if you want to actually do like a proper program, structured program over 3, 6, 12 months, I do the art there, where I'll specifically design your program and give you like a structured nutrition plan based on your needs. And yeah, I'm just really happy to be able to condense this all into an app, and we're going to launch like a physio hub with it, so you're going to have like your own physio in your pocket, So that way, if you have anything wrong with you, whether it's ergonomically, when you're sitting at a desk and you have some tight hips, or tight back, you can speak to our physio, or you can look at our online content to help you with that. So we've got a ton of content out there just to really help people to I guess upscale their lifestyle essentially.
Yeah, I for the audience, we started the conversation off around that, just about how important physical performance and nutrition has been in our family, just even professionally in sales, and and the grind of just not sitting still. I mean, it wears you out. And when you start a company or companies, it just, it's taxing, it's exciting, you don't sleep, you never sit still, you're constantly making decisions. All of these parts of your body, like when you work out that you're not normally working out, they get sore. It's like your brain goes through the same thing too. It's like, why does
Yeah,
my head hurt? Like, I can't even recall words or thoughts or have a conversation with somebody because my head hurts.
yeah. I have exercise for me is just such an important outlet for me because, well, like you said, sometimes your brain is very hard to switch off because you just think about ideas, or you're thinking about, I guess, alternatives on how to solve an issue, or a problem, or something that the business needs to I guess improve on. And
Mhm.
I just find the simple task of just putting in some headphones and listening to some feel good music and just sweating it out and exercising. It gives me such an amazing dopamine hit, and just kind of clears my brain. And it's like, have a nice cold shower, and then I'm so much more productive.
So what do you listen to then?
To be honest, it kind of depends. Like, one, what I'm training. So if I'm out there to really
Yeah.
hit some PBs, I'm either doing some metal music, or some like I guess you could probably say heavy dance, to like, so that's like a really high tempo type of style of music. So just to
Yeah.
keep my mood up.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm just doing like a nice casual jog, if I'm in a nice country and it's a nice scenic route where I can just jog and just switch off,
Mm.
um, I'll keep the music chilled,
Yeah.
and maybe some sing-alongs, maybe some country, and just to adapt to my surroundings.
Oh, you guys are so Texas. Like, so coming from oil and gas, I spend a lot of time in Texas. So I
Nice.
can pick that up really quick. I
Yeah, we do embrace that place a lot every time we go there, and I'm sure that's. I mean, I guess any American listener watching Drive to Survival F1 probably knows that, based on Daniel's cowboy outfits every year in Texas.
Oh, I love it. So who's your typical client? Like, who's signing up? Are these all athletes, CEOs, entrepreneurs, college kids? What?
Funny enough, so um, my online business itself is just any average Joe that just wants to improve their lifestyle from any aspect. That
Mhm.
is that is technically like our main source of clients at the moment. Yes, I do work with some athletes, but that is like, I guess, probably separate to like from like our subscription model, because when you start working with athletes, there is a bit more of a deeper involvement, where this is just more so anyone who really wants to just, I guess, improve their lifestyle, improve their fitness, and just, to be honest, just be educated. Like, it's the number one thing that I want to do is, I is making sure that if people sign up, and even if they only say subscribed to the app for a year, I want to make sure when they leave that they are just so prepared to just continue on, and just ensure that they've just developed such amazing habits, and get rid of the old habits,
Mm.
and just understand, okay, hang on a second, I'm so much more equipped and prepared just to keep my life improving and healthy for a longer sustainable time.
That's so key. Have you ever heard of 75 hard?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh. It's not a, I mean, it's not a diet, it's a mental discipline. And
Okay.
it's not like the ice bucket challenge, but kind of.
Yeah.
And it's 75 days, and I got to remember this, but it's 75 days. You have an indoor 45-minute workout and an outdoor 45-minute workout. You
Okay.
follow some sort of disciplined diet or nutrition. You read one like actual paper self-help book. I think you read 10 pages a day or something. You
Sure.
drink a gallon of water and something else, but it's about mental discipline over a period of time. And
Yeah.
I mean, man, I made it like 5 days, and just I was so unprepared to start it that I just came crash, because I was like 45-minute 2 a days, let's get it, get it, get it. And after 5 days,
That's a
I'm like,
lot.
I can't get out of bed, and it's like my diet, it was like, let's do keto. I kind of want to cut up a little bit, and I had no
Yeah.
energy to get out of bed in the morning. And so
Yeah.
I had to end it. And I was like, okay, now I have to like build a plan around this. Maybe Mike can help me.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest. My philosophy is a little bit different. I structure my coaching around long-term sustainability. Like, yes, going hard for 75 days will get you amazing results, but will that be sustainable for most people? Probably not. Maybe for someone like yourself, Ryan, where you're very hardwired and you're a determined person and you have that inbuilt in you already, that may work for you. But what I like to do, I like all my clients to one, gain clarity of why they're doing it, why are you signing up, right? Because you need clarity. If your mind's not there, nothing else will be there for you. Like, your mind has to be in it. So I always tell my clients, like, find clarity why you're actually doing what you want to do, because that will be your self motivator, right?
Hmm.
And then let's crack some small goals, some small wins, right? So it's like the 80-20 rule. I just want you to do things right 80% of the time, and then 20% of the time, if you want to go back and eat a hamburger or don't train for 2 days, and that's fine. You can do that as long as you're doing the right things for 80% of the time. And I obviously you need to you need to read the character that you're working with, right? Some
Mhm.
people like to go all in and just stop everything and just go for it. Others, you kind of have to drip feed. And I'll give you an example of drip feeding. So it might be like, okay, here's your meal plan. I want you to, 6 out of your 12 meals this week, I want you to follow this, right? You're having three coffees a day and two Cokes a day. Cool. We're gonna have one Coke a
Hmm.
day and two coffees a day. We're just gonna slowly chip away, right? And create these small goals and these small changes. But then over time, those small changes across a 3-month period are massive, massive gains, right? So you're breaking that habit quite, I guess, gradually, without them really even knowing, you know. And every 4 weeks, you just start slowly just increasing more and more healthier habits. And I find that's a lot more sustainable to for people to transition from a long-term perspective.
I like your plan better.
Yeah, yeah, it could. I always say I don't want it to feel like a chore,
Yeah.
right? Like, when people want to be coached by me, I don't want it to feel like a chore. Like, oh, Michael's making me eat this. Oh, Michael's making me train.
Yeah.
So no, hang on a second. This is a lifestyle transition. This isn't a diet. This isn't a boot camp. This is a transition that you're going to create for life.
Mm, that's so good. So tell me something. I'm gonna jump around here. Tell me something about you that kind of your audience or your fan base wouldn't know about you.
Oh, geez, that's a good question. Hmm.
I always got to throw a curveball in there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What people probably don't know about me. I guess one thing that's pretty cool that I don't really share is when I was probably at the age of 26, 27, like through this transition of becoming a coach, I was still doing a bit of soul searching, because you when leaving college, you're under this pressure as a teen that you're supposed to have everything figured out in
Yeah.
life, right? You're supposed to know where you're going to be, what career you want to aspire to. And I wasn't that guy, man. I'll be honest with you. Like, yes, I moved into the engineering industry, but it wasn't a burning desire of mine. It was just because I was a pretty creative guy. I was good at designing. I was really good at math, and it kind of just it felt just right because of strengths I had, but it wasn't a pure passion. So I did this crazy thing where I actually went on a 6 week like solo trip by
Okay.
myself, and I traveled through America and Europe for 6 weeks, and man, that was amazing. I got so homesick after 2 weeks. I was like depressed and wanted to go home. And my parents were like, "Go, come home." And me trying to be this resilient, teen like kid, or 20-year-old. I was like 25-year-old, I should say, mid-teen, mid-20 guy. I was like, no, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm going to hang it out. And I really struggled because I never really checked in with myself ever. Right, I was always just go, 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 and I was almost like through in this simulation of just studying, working, and not actually checking in with myself and understanding what I really enjoy. And when you're by yourself in another country, you have a lot of time to
Oh
to
yeah.
self-reflect. But that was something that I did quite cool in my life. That was, and I look back now and I'm so glad I did, because it kind of shaped the person who I am now. And it gave me a lot of life lessons, and made me figure out a few things that I was, I guess, wasn't taking the time at home to actually try and figure out. So yeah, something a little personal for everyone.
I'm gonna have to have my kids listen to this now. They need to hear this.
A
Uh,
lot of parents, say the opposite. They don't
uh,
don't want them to go, away by themselves. It's quite daunting as a parent to let a child go traveling by themselves.
it's hard
When
to let them.
especially when they, yeah, well, because I hadn't at the time, I hadn't traveled much at all, so I wasn't an experienced traveler at all. So I think I made them worry more than be excited for me.
So what's the coolest experience you've ever had in Formula One? Like, what was your like, holy cow, I can't believe this moment?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest pinch me moment so far, it may sound cliche, but winning in Monaco was an absolute mind blown experience. It was my sixth race in F1, so every race was still like it was still like a pinch me moment. And to get to Monaco and Daniel put it on pole, and I'll never forget it. Like, Sunday we're on the grid P1 in Monaco. There's people everywhere, and Red Bull had like their Red Bull athletes, and I guess you could say like influencers on the grid. And
Yeah.
here I am, I'm standing next to Tom Brady, and Bella Hadid, and Dan Carter, and I was just like, what is going on, man? Like, I was in Perth 4 months ago, just
Yeah.
training out of a small gym, and all of a sudden I'm on the Monaco grid in P1, and I'm standing next to Tom Brady, and he's like wishing me good luck. I'm like, what is this?
That's so good. That is
uh,
so okay. On those same lines,
yeah.
tell me something that about F1 that you had no idea of until you got there. Like, it's kind of like entrepreneurship. Like, everybody says it's awesome. You make a ton of money and you get to wear tennis shoes to work all of a sudden. And then you get there and you're like, it's different. It's not like that. Because I watched Drive to Survive and I watched the team principal pressure, and I'm enamored. You can feel the pressure happening there, and like just you have to make that split second decision, or it's over. I love that pressure. I always say that I thrive in a chaotic, fast paced environment. So I don't think I would have ever anticipated it being like that until, I don't remember if it was the second season during the whole Gasly Red Bull thing, but
Yeah.
you almost watched it and you were nervous watching it. But like, what caught you off guard about the sport that was like, wow, I had no idea?
The cameras. I didn't realize how many cameras are in the paddock. I'm serious, man. I'll never forget my first day, because 2018
Yeah.
was the first year. That was my first year coming on board, but that was the first year Netflix had signed the Drive to Survive deal. So that
Uh,
was the first year of their filming. So here I am, first race in Australia, our home race. Daniel is like so popular in Australia,
yeah.
and then Netflix have like it's their first race, and I've rocked up, and I'm not kidding you. Like I'll never forget. I'm driving this Aston Martin, and I'm like, this is the coolest car ever. Never driven anything close to this sports car that Red Bull were
Uh,
giving us. because funny enough, it feels like years ago, but yeah, 2018. Red Bull had an Aston Martin relationship. So yeah, I remember walking out of the car and there was about 25 cameras, and I just didn't know what to do. I was like, what do I do here? Like, do I just? It was very, very mind blowing, but also it was very intimidating. Like to go from just living, I guess, a standard life, right? Where there's no cameras at all, what we're doing, and then all of a sudden, everything you do, say, is just being filmed. Like literally the first day, Netflix were like, cool, we're going to put a mic on you, Michael, and just just do your thing all day and just leave the mic on you. I'm like, what? Like I haven't, I ain't, I haven't signed up for this. Do you know what I mean? Like it was. So yeah, I think the first thing that comes to my head definitely is the amount of cameras. Like it can really throw you off if you're not prepared.
So Dan is like your celebrity performance coach now, right? So you guys trade services while you're
Yeah, I think I've naturally gained some media lessons from Daniel and just having that many cameras around us.
that's so cool. That's so cool. So Formula One is like this mind-blowing, grueling kind of fast-paced. I think kind of what you guys go through to a degree is what high performing salespeople, business people, entrepreneurs, executives, like, I mean, I in 2019, I was doing 50, 55 flights a year, traveling around, meeting with clients and, putting deals together and whatnot. So I get that. And I remember that feeling of just the grind of, man, you're jet lagged, you're tired, you're taking 5 a.m. flights to hit 8 a.m. meetings, and then you're jumping on a plane at 5, landing at 9, running to a hotel, going to bed, waking up for other meetings. It just, over 12 months, I mean, it just beats you down. Like, how do you as a performance coach prepare like somebody like Daniel or like an executive or a client? Like, how do you prepare them for that? Because you can't meal prep, you can't. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, on race weekends we have chefs on track. So I every Monday, so I will send them like a full, I guess, food schedule from Thursday to Sunday. So we're very fortunate from that aspect. And then whenever we land, whether it's a Tuesday or Wednesday, usually we're at a very well equipped hotel. Well, we'll ensure that wherever we're
Sure.
staying has obviously well equipped, has good food, with the choices that we want essentially. So just making sure that everything's, I guess the basics are done right from nutrition, sleep. Jet lag's a big one that you're really going to stay on top of. So you can do some really, really basic stuff that can make a big difference throughout the year. And some things I can share is, if you're ensuring that 2-3 days before your flight, you are already trying to transition into that time zone, 2-3 days prior to leaving. Timing your sun exposure is key. Caffeine timing is key. Exercise timing and meal timings is key as you're transitioning. Start to change that up a little bit, to help your circadian rhythm getting back into tune. So yeah, there's a lot to consider, and I guess that's where my job comes into play, where I need to ensure that everything is in line, where to a point where Daniel doesn't need to think. I just tell him what to do, and he just does it, because he's got plenty to think about over a race weekend, right? I don't need him, worrying about how he's going to prepare or sleep or anything like that. It's like, no, all your food's sorted. This is your jet lag protocol. We're going to follow this together, and we're going to train at this time. And he's like, yep, cool. So it's pretty much he's pretty much in autopilot until we get to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where that's when he has to obviously perform.
Wow. Wow. And you do all that on your online platform. I mean, if I was a client of yours and I was in 2019 and I was grinding and grinding and grinding, hey, I need help. Like, I can't
Yeah, I could have
function.
helped you back then for sure, Ryan, for sure. I could have got you. I could have got you doing 70 flights if you wanted
Oh
to.
man. Oh,
I'm joking.
oh, 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 we're gonna be good friends now. Okay, so I know we're bound by time. I definitely want to respect that. The number one question and message that I get on my social profiles is, you know, insert any age, whether
Yep.
it's 4 years old or 40 years old, and I want to be a Formula One driver. Can I do it? I mean, you have the absolute baseline of that particular question. So like, how would you answer that? Would you be, if you could, lay on the edge of a table with a 100-pound dumbbell, and lift it, with strength training, you might get there? Like, what would your answer to that be?
My answer to that would be, you know, definitely practice makes perfect. So, that you need to be driving at a very young age, especially these days. It's just the competition is so high. So, um, the only unfortunate thing with this sport, and it's just pure transparency, is it's a friggin' expensive sport,
Yeah, yeah,
right? So, unfortunately, that's the only thing that I guess the only thing that really hinders this sport is there is a bit of a high barrier to entry where it's just like, well, if you don't have, a big sponsor that has financial backing, or
mm-hmm.
your family doesn't come from, isn't a very well privileged family, it's very hard to go from karting to the next level. Because I think, even from a karting standpoint, you want to start racing in the European Championships, you're spending north of $200,000 just for karting, and then you get to F3 and F4, and we're talking 1 to 2 million euros a season.
Yep.
And that's one thing that I would love for it to change for the sport. So there are more people that can get involved. So yes, I wish I had a more of a positive answer to give you, but
Yeah.
I also think like people have to understand reality, and the reality is like, yes, if you are good enough, if you train enough and you dedicate yourself enough and you become a very good driver, the sponsors will come to you. They will 100%.
No doubt.
They're no doubt they're always looking for junior talent. So, if you're one of those guys where you're like, yes, I don't have the financial backing, that's not me saying don't go for it. It's just more so understanding that there is definitely a big hurdle to overcome from a financial standpoint in motorsport.
I couldn't agree more. And I want to tread lightly there, but if you ever want to put a team together to tackle that problem, you have to message me. There's
Yeah.
a couple of
All
people
right.
around IndyCar around here that I've had some kind of go around conversations with of how do we break that barrier down, especially in the US.
Yeah.
It's tight to get into IndyCar, but it's even harder to take it to Europe and take it to Formula One. So with that, Michael, thank you so much for being on here today. It was an awesome conversation, and hope to do it again sometime, or just have some conversations. But as my schedule gets busier, I'm going to need somebody like you around. How do we get in touch with you? How do people find you?
Yeah, so you can get in touch with me through my website, www.michaelitaliano.com. Or you can also look me up on Instagram, where I post a lot of educational content. So at Michael Italiano. They're my two main, I guess, channels to find me. And that's how you can find all about my coaching. And but no, yeah, it's been awesome talking to you, Ryan.
Awesome.
Yeah, we should definitely do this again. I'm sure there's plenty more stuff we could talk about. And yeah, let's definitely stay in touch.
Oh man, performance coaching. Dedicate a whole episode to what you do at a high level. I
Man,
love
let's
that.
do it.
I live in
Happy to
that.
talk about it.
All right, man. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.